And guess what? It's time for art exploration with Jessica, Kelly, and Lisa.
Hello, my creative friends. Jessica Sanders here. Welcome to my channel.
Every month, we're hosting a color challenge, and we're doing it in our private Facebook group. So we would love to see you there. The link is down below. And once you've finished watching this video, be sure to go check out Kelly and Lisa's YouTube channel for more color challenge fun. All right, our color of the month is white. Now, white is a challenging color to work with in art, but you can do it, and we're going to learn more about how. So let's get started with some fun.
So I took a little flip through my journal and I found that I really only use white. I use it for highlights all the time, but mostly I only use white as doodling. So I'll have like a black page with white doodles. This page has some white doodles. I also tend to use it for faces. So like this is essentially a white face with just a little bit of color added just to, liven her up. So that's mostly how I just use white in my art journals. But I like to have fun with white with watercolor. So I like to do some negative shape painting. So you'll see here in my little mini watercolor sketchbook that I have these cute little white flowers, and there's some pink flowers in the background, and this was just a little playtime, nothing serious, but it was fun to do. And then these little white flowers, kind of like anemones, is that how you say that? I'm not sure that's the name. Anyway, imaginary white flowers with these really dark centers and these colored shadows. So these are sort of a pinky purple shadow. These have more of a blue purple shadow, mostly a bluish, muted blue shadow. So just something to think about while we're thinking about white. More white flowers. I used some yellow on the whites in the petals to sort of warm it up. And then I have these different types of sort of purpley blue shadow areas to give depth to these flowers. And this is very loose and sketchy, and that's the way I like to roll. So I did these flowers just for fun. Now this is way too much space up here. I mean, unless you wanted to put something more, but it was just a little bit of playtime. I used some blues, some pinks, a little bit of turquoise, different colors of shadow colors. Everything is negative shape painted around the flower. So I did not mention that these I painted around the flower petals, right? The same here. This is the white of the paper, and I used negative shape painting, or also called, I think, reduction painting, but I'm not sure. Anyway, to paint around the flowers to keep the white of the paper. It's really fun and challenging technique, and that's what we're going to talk about today, I think. Here's a goose. This is about a 10-minute painting, or maybe it's a swan. I think it's a swan. And I used two colors, and you can see I used this turquoise. I think this is manganese blue, maybe, and some turquoise. In any case, I used the blue, the same color I used for the background. I used it for a shadow here under the neck. You can see how it adds a lot of depth. I negative shape painted around this swan, and it turned out pretty cool. I was pretty happy with those results. So that's how I tend to use white, other than highlights and things. Of course, I have highlights and things like that, but I like to do the negative shape painting techniques, right? Same for this little bird. Now this is stylized, the eye's extra big, it's not very realistic, but I did negative shape painting around the shape of the bird. And then for the dark colors, now this bird is actually inspired by a real life bird that is black and white. So all these areas would be black and the rest of the bird is white. And I just thought it would be fun to add in other colors instead of the black. And you can see this little shadow, this shadow area right here. So you can see I used some blues here, purpley blues for these shadows. So you can see that I tend to do similar thing. I use pinky, purpley, bluey colors to create shadowy effects on white. So that's how I've been using white in the past with my watercolor and with my journaling. All right, so let's do a little color study of white. Okay, we're finished. Here's the white. I don't know. Have sort of this thing going on with this where I have the title, right, of the color. And I realized this time I can't use white, so I went around it, which is sort of the theme for this week, is going to be negative shape painting for me and adding shadows to your whites. So rather than having the normal color study that I've been doing in the past where I show different types of colors for that particular color, and then I do the complement and my favorites, I think what we'll do is show you how to do negative shape painting. You may not, I've been talking about it already, but you may not be familiar with that. So we'll talk about that a little bit, and then we'll talk about some shadow colors that are great to use with white. These are the colors that I like to use, and other artists will like to have and use different colors. So just keep that in mind as we're going. If you have a perfect shadow color for white, I would love to hear about it. So leave that in the comments below, or let's chat about it over in the Facebook group. That would be awesome also. So negative shape painting means we paint around the object. Positive shape painting means we paint the object. So if I drew a heart or any shape, this is the positive shape. So let me color that in with the pencil. The positive shape is the colored in area. That's the heart. The negative shape is the area around it. So when I paint a negative shape, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the object and I'm painting around it rather than painting the object itself or the thing or the shape. In this case, it's a heart, but literally it can be any shape. It can be an abstract shape. It can be a shape, say, on a leaf or anything like that. So this is negative shape painting. I painted around the object. Now, if you had something like a roll of tape, the positive shape would be where you have the tape. The negative shape will be the circle in between and the circle outside. So I will draw. So we have two concentric circles. Our positive shape is this area here, and our negative shape is what's around it and what's inside the circle. So if we're painting this roll of tape, for example, this is the positive shape. Positive shape, this is the negative shape. I know that's a little bit repetitious there, but sometimes it's really hard to think in terms of the negative shape. So this is actually a negative shape of our roll of tape, right? Because we're painting, or in this case, we're not painting. We're negative shape painting this roll of tape, which means basically we're not painting it. We're painting what's around it, right? So I'm just playing with color here as we go, just for fun. So really just do around that shape, and you're painting the negative space. Now my brushwork's not fantastic, but I think you get the idea here of what you can do. So now I've used a negative shape painting technique to paint, or rather not paint, this shape, this roll of tape. Now, once that's dry, I can always go back in and paint this, but that would be painting the positive shape, and we're painting negative shapes right now, right? So that's how positive negative shape painting works. Quick rundown. I'm sure it can be much more complex than that, but we're just doing quick rundown. Okay, shadow colors for white. So let me see. I like to use purple. Now this is a mixed purple. This is mixed with ultramarine blue and with probably a magenta. right? Kind of purple. So you can create a warm shadow with purples. And if you add more blue, oops, I picked up the wrong blue. I love the peacock blue. If you add more blue, let's say, oh, I still picked up peacock. You could use peacock blue. You can use peacock blue for anything because it's my favorite, right? Ultramarine blue is better though because it's a purpley blue. So you could use that and create a cooler shadow. So these are just shadow colors. So for example, let's say I wanted to do a vase, right? And I want to paint a white vase. I'll just do this really quick. So let me first negative shape paint around the base. Guess what? I can use my peacock blue for that. And this is really quick. I know it's not meant to be some perfect painting, guys. Just a quick demo of how this negative shape painting works and how we can add some shadow colors. Okay, so now I have a white vase, right? But there's no dimension to it. There's nothing there. So if I want to add a shadow, I can pick up my purple. Make sure your color is very watery and light. By the way, you can also use like yellow colors to make like a sunny effect on flowers, which is pretty cool. So I have a very, that's just a little secret. All right, so I have a very watery mix of this purple, and I can use it to create shadows. So I want a shadow inside my vase. There. It's very nice and subtle. I can add a little bit more of this blue. Very watery mix. And create a shadow underneath the edge here. And along the side. And guess what? That vase is pretty much done right there. Pretty much it. Now you can be more or less controlled, right? But I'm just keeping it loose, sketchy, and light. So now though, this shape, this white vase, has dimension, and that's what the shadow colors do for you when you're painting white. So two things that are related to painting with white and watercolor are negative shape painting and shadow colors. Now this can be very challenging, so if you haven't done it before, just give yourself a break. Remember, we're here to play, explore, and have fun. All right, so I'm going to move on to the quick project for you, a project page, and I may time-lapse that part of the video. I'm not sure yet because I don't know how long it's actually going to take me, but I'll share that with you next.